So I always kept my eye on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, when the opportunity presented itself, once she became of age, I hopped on that joint. I mean, at the end of the day, I just want to see her happy. And if seeing her happy is not being with me, although that's a mad dagger, dog.
That's a dagger.
That's a mad.
I'm surprised that given the prerequisite for this task was meet your ex, I'm surprised how many people failed to present their ex. It's one thing if your ex has passed away, but the rest, their rationales didn't make sense. It didn't make sense at all. And at the end of the day, seeing some of the situations, I understand why people didn't want to bring their exes, especially if you look at the situation with Angie and her ex, how he spoke about her wanting to be very independent. And then the most awkward of all, I think, was Kiara. Kiara's partner, well, ex made me side-eye him because it seems like he is still in love with her and wants her back, and he was there to audition for her to sort of take him back. That's the impression that I got. And some of the girls not having their partners come up, I don't know. Do I think the boys dumped the right person? I think so. I think it's a matter of time with the remaining girls. I don't think any of the girls or the guys are ready to love, but that's just me. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Ready to Love, Season 11, Episode 7. I'm so sorry about my late upload. I completely forgot to check when Ready to Love was coming back. But anyway, we're on track. So you have the two guys, Eddie and Fritz, having conversations with the girls. Because the girls last time we left, there were two guys that were supposed to be dumped. So first off, you have Fritz having a conversation with Sahara. And Sahara calls him out because she said, you spoke badly about me behind my back when you promised that we were good. And Fritz, I think he realized that he was caught because he was like a deer in headlights and eventually apologized for it. She then told him he wasn't ready to love. Is he surprised? No. Are we surprised? No. Fritz was just there to be on TV as far as I'm concerned. Yes, he did apologize. Yes, he reflected and said, I should have done better. As much as I didn't have a connection with Sahara, I shouldn't have spoken about her behind her back. And it's like, hey, hindsight is 2020. So at least you've learned something, and hopefully you can take that into your next relationship. Eddie is told about the drinking, and he says he drinks socially, and so he's told the girls feel he's not ready to love. He must have had a problem, because for it to be brought up, production must have had concerns, because there's no reason why, if he's drinking socially and he's only drinking a glass or two, people wouldn't need to call him out on that, because that's quite a big thing to call out. And so for them to call him out on that, this is something that must have really been a problem that production were picking up on, and maybe that's why they've decided to dump him, because it didn't quite make sense why Eddie was dumped. Fritz, yes, he wasn't serious about the girls. He was just there to be on TV. But Eddie, if I remember very well, he seems to have great connections with the girls. So I'm actually pleasantly surprised. He said on his part, he was very closed off, and he still was looking for love, even though the girls felt he wasn't ready. And so he hopes that he can take whatever he's learned from this experience into his next relationship. And I hope for the best for him. I think he needs to have counseling, especially if he has issues with alcohol. You then have all the men meet up with Tommy. They have a conversation, and it's revealed that their next sort of subject matter is meet the exes. And it's like, this is going to be a hot mess express. This really is going to be a hot mess express. And the guys are sort of taken aback because they're told that you've been learning about the ladies' past, future, and now we need to learn about their past, and so you need to meet the exes. And you knew it was going to be a roller coaster or a dumpster fire. I'm surprised that the girls didn't go for people that are better than what they brought to the table. Because first up, we had Hussein and Angie meet up with her ex. The ex apparently is the father of her son. I thought that was a dumpster fire until the next date. Because he said, she's very independent. She wants to do everything herself. Or when she was in labor, she drove herself to the hospital. And it's like, that's a bit too much. Why did she drive herself to the hospital? There's more to this story than we're being told, because it doesn't make sense for someone to be in labor and drive themselves. What happens in between contractions? You're not only endangering other road users, but you're endangering yourself as well and your unborn child. So I didn't quite get that. And that's a massive red flag in my opinion, because if she wants to be in control of something that's serious, then what about small things? Yeah, it's going to be constant arguments. He sort of spoke about the fact that, she's very independent. I would have liked to have been given the opportunity to lead the relationship. It seems they're in a very good space. They co-parent, so they meet at drop-off and pick up for the child. So it was nice to see that aspect. But this thing about her being very independent, Hussein saw it as a red flag. I saw it as a red flag as well. And then we had Jay, Kiara, and Jules. That was a dumpster fire. I have a feeling Kiara must have gone to one of her friends and asked, who can I sort of volunteer to sort of appear as my ex? Maybe she didn't want her exes to be on TV, because this man didn't make any sense. Apparently, Kiara and Jules' sister were friends. There's a 9-year age gap between Jules and Kiara, but they dated once she became of age, according to this man, because he couldn't do anything until she became of age. Red flag. And then he spoke about the fact that, she used to be holier than thou. Now she's totally different. She's very bougie, I think he said was the word he used. And so he still has feelings for her, and he does see them sort of rekindling. That's the impression that I got. And Jay was taken aback because he was saying, why is this man making it seem like even at 80, he'll still be waiting for her? Make it make sense. Does he not get any offers? And Jules, I think, is a massive red flag, but coming from someone like Jay, who's a walking red flag, I don't get how Kiara thought this was a good idea. She has a type, and sadly her type is not working for her, because both men are walking red flags, and so I don't know why she even bothered to introduce them to one another. Next up, we had Cisco and Shanice meet up with her ex, Aggie. That was another awkward one. Personally, I don't know why Shanice is still there unless production are keeping her for the drama, just as they are keeping Sahara, because it doesn't make sense. She is what... She to Cisco represents the flirty, naughty side, and I think when it comes to relationship, Tay is it for him. Anyway, they start having this conversation about their connection, and the ex says, Aggie says they broke up because she was very ambitious and she was traveling a lot, and he didn't want to travel, but he thinks, that she's very spiritual and very authentic. Well, that was what Cisco was saying. And then somehow Tay came into this equation, and you had, Shani say Tay is cute. Cisco didn't like that. He says she's beautiful, and it's like semantics. It is semantics. I don't quite get the need for the back and forth. I understand, Shanice might feel some type of way because she sees Tay as competition, but at the same time, there was no need for Cisco to be that sort of in your face about it, which makes me believe that Cisco is only putting up with her because he needs a plan B just in case things don't work out with Tay, since they already had an issue with Tay before. I don't know. We'll see how that lands. We then had Sahara meet up with Cam, because I think Sahara's only connection in the experiment is Cam at this point, and it has been Cam from, I think, day one, because most of the guys were put off by her. She says she didn't have an ex to bring, so her ex passed away, so this is why she is there on her own. What do I think? I think with Sahara, I have a feeling she knows someone on production. And I think that person on production wants to give her opportunities to sort of progress and develop. They want to give her a leg up, sort of to make her life better, because they must have seen her struggles. Because her being on the show doesn't make sense. I understand the concept of the show. Her being on this Ready to Love, I don't think she's ready to love. I think she should have gone to Ayana Fix My Life, had therapy and counseling and coping tools in which to sort of cope with her current situation, and then she would have been in a better position to be able to sort of offer love or receive love from anyone. She did bring up the fact that, I love unconditionally. She says that her ex was rough with her because he felt she could take it, but she's an open book and she's open to growing and developing. I get that and I understand it, but at the same time, I feel like Sahara is not ready to love. I feel like Sahara, yes, she deserves the opportunity she's getting, but I don't think this was the best show for her. She should have gone on Ayana Fix My Life, and then from there, she should have gone to something like Love is Blind, where people can't see her, and then they would have been more open to sort of explore a genuine connection, because otherwise her first impression is not hitting the same way the other girls' first impressions are hitting, just because of her packaging, how she packages herself. I said this before and I'll say it again. I don't mean she needs to wear the most high-end situation, clothing, whatever, but she needs to present herself better. She needs a bit of etiquette class, and she needs a better wardrobe, and she needs therapy. Cam on his part appreciated this meeting because it said it allowed him to see her from different angles. Do I think they're going to live together at the end? No. I think he's going to help her as much as he can to stay on the show. But at the end of the day, when he has to make a choice, he's going to dump her and she's going to go home. Hopefully, this will have given her exposure and an opportunity to grow and start something new for herself. You had Hussein meet up with Rose, Kayla and her ex, and Cam, and I think it was too picture perfect because she's been packaging herself a certain way as non-toxic, very loving, very caring, very patient. So for her ex to come in and say, I had 3 kids at the time and it wasn't the right time for us, otherwise she's perfect. He was asked what was bad about her. He spoke about, at times when you're sick, you don't want someone close around you. I don't know. It's giving as though she's very clinging and very territorial. That's the impression that I got by reading in between the lines. Obviously, the ex said, anytime I was unwell, she was always there. At times, I wanted my personal space, but she would still be there checking in on me. The guys were side-eyeing because they said the story is too perfect, and I believe it's too perfect. There's no one who's that perfect. There must be something wrong. Yes, it can be as extreme as some of the cases that we've seen on this episode, but I think the story was too good to be true. You had Tay meet up with Cisco. They also had Kilan come in, and apparently her ex wasn't able to make it. She said her ex wasn't able to make it, and when she was asked about other people, she said they're all in relationships, so she didn't want to put them in that situation. I don't know. I'm side-eyeing that because when she came onto the show, she must have known that at some point they might ask to see her exes. What came out of that, it became a competitive sport, in my opinion, between Kelani. Kelani, I don't think is aware, I don't think is aware that he's in competition with Cisco, but Cisco has felt the need to sort of step up, and it's like, I don't get it. Cisco's got someone who appreciates him. Yes, I side-eye Shanice. I don't think she's 100% perfect, but she hasn't disrespected him. Unlike Tay, and I think because Tay is stunning, this is why he's prepared to go to war for her. So they spoke about, how do you deal with hiccups in your relationship. She said at times, I match your energy. I think people knew that if they brought a partner who was going to say something negative, then they were lying to say they couldn't make it, and then they would speak up on what they felt were red flags. It would have been nice to have Tay's ex there to speak up. And then she was asked, what makes you pull away? She was very vague in that. I didn't quite get it. I really didn't get it. Next up, we had Angie meet up with Cam. She didn't bring her ex. She said, this relationship is a new relationship. It's a new connection that she's just started. So she didn't like the idea of bringing him, or she didn't want to bring him until she sort of dug deeper with Cam. Do I think so? I don't know. I don't know why she didn't have a double date when she had her first meetup, because she could have had a double date with Hussein. So I don't know why they didn't double date then. Cam felt some type of way about the ex not coming because he felt, he deserved to sort of meet the ex and find out. Although I love the fact that she was honest. She did tell him that my ex said I'm too independent, and Cam was saying he's a bit nitpicky. And so I found their conversation more sexual than anything else. And I don't know whether maybe this is the reason why Angie didn't feel it was necessary. It's one of two things. It's either she knows it's very superficial and it's only about physical attraction, or she really likes him and she doesn't want the ex to come in and say anything that will sort of put Cam off. So that I didn't understand. You had Naheem meet up with Khalil. They met up with Diana. I don't get that. I really didn't get that. She said her partner didn't come because their connection was very toxic. So she feels like if he had come, nothing good would have come out of it. I find her very judgmental because of the way she judged Cam. The moment she found out Cam was a junior at work in the fire service, she already put her ex on him. And then the fact that I don't know. I really don't know where she stands when it comes to these two guys. Do I think Khalil is into her? I think he's keeping her as an option. I think everyone is keeping a plan B just in case their plan A doesn't work out. And so they can stay on the show a bit longer and they can have someone fight for them. Naeem, sadly, it seems Diana is his only connection. So I don't know how that's going to sort of work out. Yes, she did accept that she is picky and she is a runner. And she said that her ex felt like he had to walk on eggshells all the time. Do I agree with that? Yes. I think she is in a very male-dominated field, one, and because of that, she has to be sort of very powerful, come across as very powerful, and so this can be misinterpreted by people. You then have the guys come and meet up with Tommy in the vault, and Tommy sort of asking the guys, oh, what happened during your days. Jay said, he met her ex, but he said they grew up in church and he was being disrespectful. Do I think the ex was being disrespectful? No. I think the ex was trying to sort of put off Jay, and personally I don't think Jay's that serious about his connection, so I don't get it. You had Hussein and Cam say that Rose was too perfect. They didn't understand that, so they don't get why there was sort of like a rehearsed conversation that they had. Shakira, Cam said, she's very open. She did say her ex had passed away. Everyone agrees that Shakira is such an open book that if there was anything, she would have said it. You had Naeem and Khalil say that there was no ex because a couple of the guys revealed that the girls did not bring their exes. Hussein then said, he was told that Angie's too independent. This rubbed Cam, up the wrong way because he felt like he wasn't worthy to meet the ex, because if Hussein had met the ex, why wasn't he allowed to meet the ex? And it's like, maybe because your connections are progressing at a different rate, or maybe there's more to it, so you need to sit down and have a conversation with her and find out what's going on. So Tommy then invites the guys to take 2 girls out and tell one of them that they're not ready to love. Was I surprised with who was picked? Yes. Well, not really. Yeah, maybe. It was Shanice and Angie. I'm surprised Sahara wasn't picked though. Maybe Cam really fought for her, and so he had to pick between one of the two, between Angie and Sahara. He was given an option between Sahara and Angie, and he decided to let go of Angie. You had, Cam reveal that he felt some type of way about the fact that she got her ex to meet up with Hussein, but he didn't get to meet her. The ex, he said, I'm not jealous, but that made me feel some type of way. And he's not sure whether this is going to progress any further or whether he's got a chance with her. I think Cam has been the smartest out of all the guys in this experiment. I think he has managed to save all his connections. That way, when it's time for the girls to dump, all the girls will fight for him and he will stay on the show, because it doesn't make sense how he has 3 connections and other people barely have 2. So he tells Angie that, she still has a chance to find love. And so she's excited. There was a bit of flirting, very sexual language. I think it's not appropriate. I really don't, especially if you're looking for a deeper connection. Cisco met up with Shanice. He spoke out. You could see he was devastated to be giving her the bad news. I think he drew the short straw. And sadly for him, with Tay not being 100% on his side, he could be letting go of the person that could have saved him. Anyway, he spoke about the fact that, thank you for allowing me to tap into my vulnerable side. You allowed me to sort of to step into my spiritual side, which is something I hadn't done for a long time. He said, you're caring. And so I could see how they were connected. Yes, there was this sexual language, but also there was a connection there. So it's sad that this is where they were and he had to relay the message. So you could see he was devastated. He told her that sadly the guys have felt you're not ready to love. And I love that she said, I am okay with it and I'm at peace with it. Because at the end of the day, my journey here could have been just to help you find your spirituality. And if that was the reason why I was brought here, then I'm happy with it. I think they had a very good closing. I think it was a moment of growth, a moment of understanding, and a moment of appreciation for Cisco, especially on his part. So I love that for him, and I can't wait to see what happens in the next episode. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 6. Bye everyone.